Hi there, this is my top 10 players list of players who, have in the last 6 months been in the OCS or have been considered to be OCS level players, who I think will at some point be in the OPL in the future. Um, so this isn't necessarily players who've never played OPL before. So differing from our last list, where we only had players who'd never played OPL before, I'm going to include players that have played OPL in the past before, and hopefully kind of making some improvements on that list based on changes in skill level, and kind of including some of those players. Because quite frankly, our last video had a ton of negative feedback. A lot of people disliked the video. A lot of people were upset that certain people weren't included on the list, and I think you guys are right. I think we need to change the list up, and I'm going to start off this video with a big public apology to Chaz it up. So I just wanted to say a big sorry that we didn't include you on our list last time, and yeah, no, you sure did prove us wrong. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck in OPL next split. And that's the reason why you're not included on this list. It's not other reasons. It's because you're too good for us. Um, anyways, pretty much yeah. If anybody who was considered to be an OCS level player or played in the OCS last split can be included on this list. So if they've played OPL before but they were playing OCS last split, then I've included them. So yeah, without further ado, I'll get started. This is in order, by the way. So the first person which I have on this list is Frae. Now, this is a pretty obvious one for me. Probably a top 4, top 5 mid laner in the entire region. Plays very team-orientated style, and I've had the pleasure of working with him briefly during Split 1, and he's been the best player on the worst teams in the OPL, and he was by far, in my opinion, the best player on Abyss Academy last split. So yeah, I think without a doubt he deserves to be on an OPL team, and he deserves to be on a mid-top tier OPL team in my opinion. And unless he retires from esports, I'm pretty certain that he'll be back in the OPL very soon. The next player which I have in this list is Decoy. So a player who everybody has kind of recognized has been a highly skilled player from scrims, from the brief OCS time that he's played. He's pretty much regarded as the next support to go in, and I think that there's going to be quite a few supports slots free within the next split of OCS, so OPL. So I'm very confident that he'll be playing OPL. Similar thing with Swathe, by far regarded as the best jungler in the OCS last split. I guess the competitions really being like Barbip and Scam Diggity. In my opinion, he was the best jungler in the OCS. And yeah, I think pretty much the moment that an OPL slot becomes available for jungle, if there is any, I expect to see this guy moving on up. So Haeri for me is, I believe he is underage, but he was an exceptional player on Legacy Genesis last year. He was the carry. There were games when you see Haeri getting 10, 11 kills, just solo carrying his team in the OCS. Had a very good performance in the semifinals against Abyss. Very aggressive player, but also, still, I believe, got quite a bit of time to work with before he needs to be ready for the OPL. But I expect this guy, probably the moment he becomes of age, to be hitting the OPL. Next one is Papryze. So Papryze is the top laner for Abyss Academy last split. He's quite a solid top laner, kind of a staple. I think he's got some work before he's going to be able to compete with those, beyond the bottom level OPL top laners. But he is relatively new to the scene, and I do expect him to be moving up to the OPL. Top lane as well is a relatively unusual role in the sense that like metas can change top laner skills a lot, and also it's widely regarded as a very weak role. So I do very much expect Papryze to be making it to the OPL at some point. How far he can go, really, that's another question. Cuden. Cuden is a support who has played for the Direwolves. He's played for Legacy. He, played for Abyss. He very much has played for everybody. And I think he's going to rise back up to the OPL, but he's probably just going to sit on like a mid-bottom tier OPL team, in my opinion. I don't think we're ever going to see Cuden rise back up to the heights of playing for Legacy or Direwolves, but the amount of knowledge which he brings to the team, the amount of I guess added value that he has beyond his playstyle, and his playstyle is solid if the meta is not focused around certain support champions. Like he's very good at like the Rakans, the Namis, the Karmas. He just very much depends on the meta determining whether or not Cuden's struggling. And yeah, I think we'll see him back in the OPL. Not to those heights that he has been previously, but yeah. The next player is Gunkrab. So Gunkrab playing for Atletico last split. Very, very high quality player. Hard carried some of those games for Atletico. In terms of himself, I believe he will make the OPL. I believe he is underage, so another player who I think will probably make it into the OPL on their debut. When they turn 17, or on the debut season when they can turn 17. And yeah. Another player that I've got down is Draqon. So in my opinion, a very similar kind of level to Gunkrab. In terms of the roles, I think Gunkrab is a much more carry-oriented player, whereas Draqon's much more of a team-oriented. So I think there'll definitely become a time when there's a decision, between a Gunkrab and a Draqon as to whether or not you pick up either of those players. But definitely the AD carry role looking very strong coming into, the talent pool, the young players coming in. So very much expect Draqon to be making the OPL in future as well. I'm Tilting is the next one that I have. So I'm Tilting has played OPL with Team Mines before. He probably wasn't quite at the point where he was ready to play OPL. When he did play, he did have a couple of, okay performances, but also some pretty poor performances, like him and Squidgy playing Tristana and Sona. I think the fastest loss in OPL history. And yeah, they were very much the main proponents of that. But he was very new to the game at that point, in terms of being a high elo player. And I think he probably will make it to the OPL again in future. He's improving every split. That first split, a lot of people thought he was a very poor player. The next split is kind of just like your mediocre player. This split, he's probably going to be one of your top OCS supports. I think as time goes, he's probably going to continue to move on to the OPL. I'm not sure if he'll ever be like a top tier OPL player. I kind of doubt that'll ever occur, but he'll definitely comfortably make it on to the OPL at some point in the future. And the final player which I've got here is Wilaris. So Wilaris finished first last split, but when it came to the crunch time, when they were versing the OPL teams, I felt like the entirety of Outlaws almost seemed to kind of, under the pressure, kind of crack a bit. These players who put up big performances kind of, didn't put up such big performances and didn't have the strong macro gameplay when they went up against those OPL teams. And Wilaris is very much the center and the shot caller of the team. So I think Wilaris could end up on an OPL at some point in the future, OPL team at some point in the future. But I think I'll need to see a very strong performance coming out of him as an individual beyond the OCS, because they very much crushed OCS, but then they lost to Abyss Academy, and against Luch didn't look so great there either. So if he does want to make it to the OPL, he kind of will need to improve some of his individual skills. Yeah, so that's my list. So again, you can see it on screen right now. The full 10 players, or a lot of you have probably just skipped to the end of the video to see if you made the list. Yeah, again, chance it up. You're not on here definitely because you are too good for this list. Because you're going to be on Direwolves as a mid lane spot free. I bet Chaz has taken that one. So yeah, very much apologize to everyone for the previous list, and I hope you guys like this one better. But this is also my personal list. Nick had nothing to do with this one. So yeah, I think all of these players will be making OPL in future, and yeah, we'll be bringing you more OCS content over the course of the split. Thank you guys for watching the video.